Well, about some 13 months or so ago now, I did a video on this Piety replica of a Colt 1851 Navy revolver. Now, that video seemed to get quite a lot of interest. I was quite surprised, to be honest with you. So, in that video I did explain my interest in American handguns from that period, basically the 1850s through to about the 1880s. That's the area that I'm particularly interested in, I guess probably because I'm a huge fan of westerns, and I like to look into these movies and see the technology that was used and whether they were true to the period and that kind of thing. Well, I've been very lucky just recently, and I've been able to add another one to my collection. This rather fine replica is made by Umarex, and it is a replica of a Colt single action army revolver, more commonly known as the Peacemaker. And this particular one was based on the Peacemaker patent from 1873. Now, what is a little bit different about this replica is that this is actually an air pistol. But it is also an extremely close replica of the Peacemaker. I saw these and was amazed that they were making this kind of replica as an air pistol, and I just thought, well, I've got to have one of those. So let's take a closer look at it. Now, Umarex made originally, I think, 5 different versions of this pistol. This one is the blued finish with the imitation wood grips. It's all metal manufacture apart from the grips, which are actually plastic. This one, as I said, is a 5.5-inch barrel blued finish. They did a 5.5-inch barrel antique finish, which is just kind of like more worn black look to it, again with the imitation wood hand grips. They did a 5.5 nickel plated version with imitation pearl hand grips. There was a John Wayne special limited edition version of this. If you're interested in these kind of things, you'll know that John Wayne had a custom pair of Peacemakers made for him by Colt. What better way to advertise their product than have the Duke have his own personal set? They're kind of rare, you don't really see those very often now. And then finally there was a nickel plated version with a 7.5-inch barrel, and again imitation pearl grips, but again that one is quite rare. I've not seen. These are currently available. You can buy these from any airgun shop, certainly in the UK anyway. I'm sure that applies all over the world. Now, Umarex also make these in 2 different ammunition forms. This one is .177 pellets, but they also do a BB version of the gun, which is identical except it has different cartridges to actually load the BBs in, and we'll get onto that later. Now, this is a CO2 powered air pistol, and it uses a 12-gram gas cartridge, which I will show you now. Now, this is the kind of gas cartridge that it uses. This is a 12-gram CO2 gas cartridge, which fits in the grip. Now, to remove the grip, it's quite easy. You just put your fingernail under there, lift that up, and the grip comes off, like that. And there you can see the gas cartridge in place. In the base of the grip, there is an Allen-headed grub screw, and in the grip, there is a wrench provided to actually tighten that up. So you loosen it off, put the cartridge in place, put the wrench in the bottom, and tighten it up or undo it, depending upon whether you're loading or unloading the gas cartridge. That, when loading, pushes the cartridge up against the seal, breaks the seal in the cartridge, and you're pretty much good to go. To refit the grip, there is a little tiny tab there which you slot under that hole there and then snap it in place, and you're good to go. Now, the pistol has a working hammer. It doesn't actually do anything other than operate a valve to allow the gas out, but it operates functional wise, it operates the same way as the original hammer did. So you've got a half cock position which allows the cylinder to rotate, and a full cock position which is ready for firing. One of the things I really like about this replica is the way they've done the loading. So it comes with 6 dummy cartridges. These are metal. They have a hole bored through the middle. Oh, you can see that. And at this end there is a soft plastic, almost rubber-like insert. And that's where the pellet goes. So this is how you load the gun. You take your pellet, in this case I'm using wad cutters because I mainly do target shooting, and then quite simply you place the pellet in that end of the cartridge, and then you load the cartridge into the gun. So once you've loaded your pellets into your cartridges, then you load the gun the same way you would the actual real gun. You put it on half cocked, which allows you to rotate the cylinder. There is a loading gate. You flip that out of the way, just like you would on the real gun. And then, quite simply, you put the shells in as you would in the real pistol. Close the loading gate, take the gun off half cocked, and you're good to go. Simple as that. And I really like that fact that you are in fact loading it as you would load the real thing. Now to unload the gun, the replica has the same sprung loaded, I think you can just about see the spring there, ejector rod that the original gun has. It's easier to see it from this side, but the actual rod is in this tube here, and I'll show you how it works. In actual fact, you don't need to use that rod, but I will show you how it functions anyway. Now, to unload, you put the gun on half cock, swing out the loading gate. This is now allowing you to freely rotate the cylinder, line up one of the shells with the gap in the loading gate. Then on this side of the gun, as I said, there is a spring-loaded tab. Now you push that out, and then you push the rod and down, and the shell falls out. I'll show you it from this side. So we'll rotate it into another position. So you put it in the sort of central position, and then the rod, you have to get it lined up sort of very accurately, whoops, will pop out the shell just like that. So some people actually like to use the rod to push the shell out to that sort of point and then load the pellet, which you can easily do. But as I said, you don't actually need to use the rod to unload the gun. You can simply turn the gun up like this with it open, roll the cylinder around, and the shells will literally fall out like that. Now, one feature this gun does have, which the original definitely didn't have, and I'll zoom in on it so you can see. Let's just move this around a little bit. There we go. Right. Just in front of the trigger guard here, there is a little latch catch switch, whatever you want to call it, and that is the safety. And if you click that back, it is now in the safe position, and the trigger and the hammer are locked. You can't do anything with it. So that is obviously a good measure, and probably needed by law, I'd imagine, in many countries. So yeah, so that is different to the original. One other thing I will say about the pistol that is interesting as well is that you may have noticed during the video that it has Colt on it in certain places, and that is because these guns are actually made under license from Colt. These are Colt approved guns made by Umarex in Germany, but obviously with Colt's permission, otherwise they wouldn't have the name written all over. Another nice feature of these pistols is that they have a rifled barrel. A lot of the pellet CO2 air pistols have smoothbore, but this one has a rifled barrel. Yeah, that's really about it. Now, I'm not going to go into shooting this or anything like that because I don't have the facilities to actually record that kind of a video. But if you're interested, there are many videos on YouTube featuring this pistol, and people who have got cronies and all that kind of gear to actually measure the muzzle velocity and everything, and they test the accuracy. These are very accurate pistols, to be honest with you. I was absolutely amazed. Obviously, it's got the same iron sights that the original pistol had, and they were never particularly good. These weapons were made for close quarter work. They were not long range weapons by any margin. But despite that, this is actually a very accurate pistol. So I thought you'd like to have a look at this, just following my interest in American handguns from that period. Let's say this was 1873. This replica is based on the gun from that period, and it's a very, very nice pistol. So hope you've enjoyed this little look at the Umarex Colt Single Action Army. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers!